Week 8, we're already on the board with Thursday Night Football, coming off a collab winner for primetime, but it's time to dive into the Sunday slate where Trevor is on fire, and I'm looking to continue this Thursday Night Football winning. This is the Player Profiler Pick'em Power Hour, coming up now. Welcome to the Player Profiler Pick'em Power Hour, the bonus show for Week 8. We're coming off a winner for Bucks Bills. Trevor, it's good to see some green in my account personally. I know you've seen some green on your account, but it's good to see some green on ours. Usually when we come together and agree on two legs, which are completely mispriced, it's a good look.
Yeah, it was fun game last night. The ending was weird. If you're I had Kincaid also for first touchdown. You and I were talking about that last night. So that was it was inches away. So that hurt a little, but good game, crazy cover with how they ran. I mean, just a hapstance of weird events. And then Evans catches the ball off the guy's helmet. I mean, it was the gross clock mismanagement, though, by Tampa. Should be a fireable coaching offense. If you listen to elite coaches talk about the details they put in and then watch them, most of them, unless their players do something dumb, they do not mismanage the clock ever, right? Belichick's teams don't mismanage the clock. Nick Saban's teams don't mismanage the clock. Now, have they ever? Of course, everybody has one. That last night, what Bowles and that team did, I'll never understand. You can't get me to wrap my head around that. But Kincaid easily could have had 2-3 more catches that game. I don't think anybody saw that being the Gabe Davis catch game with Stephon still getting all of them, Shakira getting in, but you can see Allen getting more comfortable, and so I'm excited though for this weekend's slate. It's no bye week, which is weird. I don't know why they picked here for no buys, but whatever. Well, after last week, I'll keep it going.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it. It was if you didn't watch the game, you might think it was a little bit of a weird game because the box score to me comes off as weird if you have no context. Khalil Shakir leads the game in receiving with 92 yards. In context, that makes a lot of sense. Dalton Kincaid was the only tight end available yesterday, right? I saw a lot of talk by Bills fans about Reggie Gilliam first touchdown, and as soon as I saw everybody on Reggie Gilliam first touchdown, I was like, time to log off Twitter. But I did see that, and in the end, it is Shakir who comes out as the big winner out of that. And then on the Bucs side, our guy Rachaad White, we had the higher 21.5 receiving yards. By the way, he led the Bucs in receiving with 70. As a Mike Evans hater, as a Rachaad White backer yesterday, that made me happy. So without context, a weird box score. And the other thing I just wanted to bring up was the Bills running back situation. Shout out Colby in the chat. Appreciate you joining us. Bills running back situation. So I had some Latavius Murray action. I'm not gonna lie. For a change, I actually picked the right one to put in our underdog entry, and I went with the Rachaad White. So thankfully we cashed there. But Latavius Murray only getting 5 carries and not being efficient maybe is less of a surprise than the fact that he only got 5 carries. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying James Cook got 14 carries. He's an RB1 the rest of the way. And I'm like, it's a short week. If you're putting all your stock into a short week on primetime, I can't really help you. Latavius Murray has still started the last 3 games, and James Cook still doesn't profile as a guy that's going to catch a lot of passes out of the backfield or be the goal line back. So if you want to do the Jahmyr Gibbs all over again for the rest of the season, by all means, but I'm not going to use that to push any James Cook agendas for sure. Shout out Albert.
Yep. All right, I got one for you. What did Fat Letty do? If you guys don't know who Fat Letty is, it's Leonard Fournette. What has he done to get himself blacklisted? Did you watch old man Latavius Murray run, who, if you go look at his stats, It's ridiculous. What has he done that they think Lat Murray is a better fit? Like in that lineup than just bring in Fournette off of the street. Like, I really wonder, is like Fournette a cancer in the locker room? Has he done stuff that he's just like, it's known now, they're just not letting it out? Like, hey, don't have Lenny in there. He's not good for the team. Like I can't, there's not a world in which we live that I think at this point in their careers that Latavius Murray is physically a better running back than Leonard Fournette, but you don't want to screw up your locker room. That's the only thing I can wrap my head around. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's interesting to me, just because like I've never been like a Leonard Fournette. I mean, I've never been a big like you need to draft a running back in the first round of the NFL draft guy anyway. But I've never been a Leonard Fournette truther, so to speak. But if you look at what he did when he was like somewhat healthy, I mean, he's dealt with a lot of injuries over the last few years, and still last year his metrics like not horrible given what he's been through. I mean, he saw a lot of stacked boxes, and he still like produced at an okay rate given context, and he catches passes out of the backfield, right? And it's something that James Cook didn't have that heavy profile in college, and Leonard Fournette has, you know, not only the college profile from, it seems like forever ago, but it was still 2017, and he caught a lot of passes last year. So I'm as a Patriots fan, we've talked. I'm not going to make this a Zeke Elliott show again, but as someone who's seen what Zeke Elliott's done over the last couple of years and what Leonard Fournette's done, given that Zeke, you know, is being paid like a decent amount, and people are acting like, you know, Zeke is this. I mean, he got drafted quite heavily in fantasy, you know, in best ball specifically. I agree with you that I don't understand the discrepancy between how people view Zeke and how people view Leonard Fournette. That difference to me is crazy. So I agree with you.
Yeah, just an interesting spot to watch there. Well, we got a full slate this week, and I'm excited for.
Yeah, and we're about to get into the Week 8 slate, but as a reminder, if you are, well, this is the bonus show on Friday, so we don't release our podcast on or our shows on Fridays as podcasts the next morning. Well, one, it's a sensitive time in the week for player prop lines on the books, as well as pick and projections on Underdog. So you're not going to get a lot of these picks at the same lines as we're giving out on the show, you know, later on. We do have an article version where we explain, you know, kind of what we do on the show. We explain it in article form as well. But you're not going to get these lines. And if you want some early leans for Underdog, you need to go to the DFS Dominator on the PlayerProfiler.com website. And, you know, this morning we put out a bunch of leans. Actually, since we have no buys this week, we have a lot of picks this week. I believe we have 16 picks loaded to the Underdog pick generator. So go take advantage of that, because I already see some picks on Underdog that have moved multiple yards. And we're going to get into the show to talk about our favorites as of now, so you can lock them in live with us. But before we get into the Week 8 slate, let's hear a word from the Podfather.
All right, I want to take a moment today to talk to you about data analysis. The data analysis tool, we listen to the users. What do you want? What do you need? And we made it happen. We added popular reports like a fantasy scoring report, air yards report. And if you want to create a new report, but you don't necessarily want to look through every field, we have quick results. Hey, show me the most popular passing data. Show me the most popular rushing data, fantasy data. Done. And the thing just is much faster than it's ever been. And the report builder got a lot easier. I mean, check this out. We break it down into offense, defense. Show me just fantasy data elements. And then when you get results, hey, show me by draft year. Let's take a look at just certain players that played a certain number of snaps or a certain number of games last year. This is the tool that so many of you have been asking for, plus a bunch of dream features that Billy wanted and Cody wanted and I wanted and Dario wanted. So go to the Fantasy Tools section, click on Data Analysis, or go to playerprofiler.com/data-analysis.
Welcome back to the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour, where we are live talking about the Week 8 NFL slate. And you can tailor our picks on Underdog Fantasy using promo code Underworld upon entry. We're sharing our screen live if you're on the show, and it's a great time in sports. We got baseball on, we got hockey on, we got basketball on, and we got, of course, football on. And you can take advantage of promos on Underdog like the ones you see on the screen. They're boosters for other sports, as well as 100K Sunday sweepstakes for Underdog Fantasy each week. Each week, Underdog is giving out thousands of dollars to users. All you got to do is take advantage of the square on the board, and in this case, for me, it's Michael Mayer. Could be something else for you, but include what is it for you, Trevor?
It's Michael Mayer for everybody. If you actually look at his face, they made it the Halloween because it's like Michael Mayer. If you look at him, they made it like the Halloween theme since it's Halloween next week. I thought that was pretty cool how they wordplayed that.
I'm a dumbass and I didn't catch up on the wordplay, but yeah. So it is Michael Mayer. Spoiler alert: I will be on the higher on this one. I think this is about as low of a projection as you'll get the rest of his career, maybe on Michael Mayer. I will be on the higher on this one, and we're limited. In my case, I'm limited to I believe $10. Oh, $5. Yeah, what I'm gonna do personally is I'm gonna use this on a nuke, right? I'm gonna use this on a 5-pick, and I'm gonna put 4 of my picks from this weekend that I put on the Underdog pick generator that I'm not giving out on the show, and I'm going to put all those leans in one ticket, one entry. And if you want to find out what those leans are, I've been him on the leans that I don't pick for the show, not so much for the ones I picked on. And Trevor knows this because he sees what my leans are. I've been great on those leans, so I'm going to put a bunch of the leans in this Michael Mayer special and enter the sweepstakes myself. But you can do with it what you like. We're about to give out our favorite entries, and I know Trevor's got a 2-piece. He's coming off a winner last week. Trevor, kick us off. Where are you going?
I'm coming off multiple week winners, just for the record, and we'd like to keep the streak alive. Side note for everybody listening: if you're listening to this show, Ahaan just brought up liking Michael Mayer over. In case you're unaware, Detroit is the worst passing defense in the NFL for fantasy against tight ends this year. So take advantage. That's a spot you definitely want to be higher with Underdog. All right. Well, we're going to start with what I think is the easy one. We're going to pick on a bad pass defense, and we're going to the man himself, Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Now, we have already lost 3 yards on this in the last couple hours. But even at 275.5, we like it. What I should really be able to say is they played Denver this week. That's all you need to know. Just play what we're saying. But I'll break it down on why. In case you've been living under a rock and haven't watched Denver's defense play this year, they are not good. They are inexplicably bad, especially consider they have one of the best cornerbacks in the league in Patrick Surtain. So, what do the Broncos do? The Broncos give up 8.4 yards per pass attempt. They've given up 16 passing touchdowns this season. Like, it's insane. They've allowed 114.2 passer rating against them this season. It's like 14 points higher than any other team in the NFL. That's a wild stat to me. Last season, Mahomes threw for 352 and 328 versus Denver when they were actually a better defense. And now this season, he's already thrown for 306. Patrick Mahomes has exceeded 34.5 pass attempts, which we want volume, in 9 of his last 12 games against bottom 10 passing defense, averaging almost 40. So those are stats we're looking for in these kind of situations. You have to remember, this Denver defense gave up 70 to Miami, and Tua only threw for 309 because Achane rushed for 200, Raheem rushed for 100-something, so they didn't even have to. He threw for 300 without even trying. They gave up 335 to the Bears and Justin Fields, and in their previous game, Mahomes threw for 306 against them. So things that we also like is from a straight defensive standpoint, not just fantasy, but from a straight defensive standpoint, Denver is the worst team at defending tight end in the NFL. They are not good at it, and it's by a significant amount. If you go check out our article, I'll give you the full breakdown why. I won't talk your ear off today, but it breaks it down. And who do the Kansas City Chiefs happen to have? They happen to have the best tight end of the NFL and Travis Kelce, who's also their number 1 target. So we've seen Kelce ramp up this season as it gets going. He's getting better each week. We have to deal with all the dating life stuff, which I don't care here or there. I hope the guy's happy. I think it's good for NFL to get a bunch of girls and women that haven't watched football before to watch it and check it out. Because I'm fortunate. I have an amazing wife. I digress for a sec. My first date was to a San Francisco Giants baseball game with my wife. We have been to we had season tickets to the 49ers when we lived there for years. Like, we are sports fans, and I have friends, and I know them that their wives and girlfriends don't even want them to watch football. So I'm very fortunate. I hope that absolutely.
They played the wrong sound. God damn
That's
it.
all right. He missed, but we like that. So I hope he's happy. I hope it gets lots of Swifties watching football, and we're happy to help answer any questions. The other thing I'm excited about is Rashee Rice continues to grow. He is completely developing into what I would consider the wide receiver 2 role, which is really their wide receiver 1. And they get Justin Watson back this week. That'll help stretch the field a little bit. In case you're unaware, MVS tends to drop a ball or two once in a while, and Watson is much more sure-handed. So we love Patrick Mahomes. Over 275.5 passing yards. I think he easily throws for over 300 this week.
I was trying so hard to click. I was trying to hype you up. W husband, W glaze. Everything the kids say. I was trying to hype you up, and I pushed the wrong button. Anyway, we're not going to dwell on that. Chef says, Patrick Surtain, didn't he get traded to the Eagles?
I'm literally going to look at Twitter right now when I saw that. I'm like, did something happen and I didn't get an alert?
I mean, if Patrick Surtain got traded to the Eagles, and I'm just hearing about it now, because I was out. If y'all couldn't tell, I would
throw up.
I was eating fries. To give you a sense of how out I've been this afternoon. You are incorrect, Chef. Patrick Surtain is currently on the Denver Broncos. So,
however, like him, Sutton, Judy, Simmons, Jewel, they're all on the block. Like, it's known Denver's going to rebuild, right? They got to eat all this money with Wilson. That was just. Yeah, you scare me for a second. I'm like, are we getting breaking news?
Yeah, it was Kevin Byard, which was I believe yesterday.
Which is ridiculous that Howie got him. Well, I don't even want to talk about how good a GM Howie is. So, but I like Mahomes for over 300 yards. And as a 49er fan, I don't like that they got Byard. But we don't want to talk about that. It's gonna with these Broncos, right? Obviously, like Trevor mentioned, everybody's on the block. So if a trade does happen before Sunday and Patrick Surtain is also gone, Patrick Surtain is the only reason this Broncos defense is still has not been relegated from the NFL. So if he's gone, he might throw for 400. So it would. He did last week already. He already threw for 400 last week. So
and I like the way you're. Sorry, I was just going to say I like the way you're attacking the Chiefs offense in this one, because I got my heart broken last week with Jaden Reed. Right, I took him on the books, and Jordan Love just could not. He is a hospital ball. Walking hospital ball, right? So I like that you don't have to worry about whether or not Justin Watson hauls in a big one, because he can. The Broncos give up huge plays. You don't have to worry about the usage between Kelce and Rashee Rice, because both those two are the good players on the offense. And you don't have to worry about trying to guess whether Isaiah Pacheco is going to be the guy that houses a check down, right? So regardless, there are so many ways in which this can hit without having to guess which one is the guy that stands out. So I love this way of attacking it.
Yeah, right? Jerick McKinnon comes in and breaks one for 45. I like attacking the Chiefs offense this way. Now, we're going to go the exact opposite way of we just talked about, and we're going to talk about elite target share. I would love to see – there's some people that thought he could be okay, but there's no one that really saw this resurgence coming with Adam Theilen of the Carolina Panthers. He has been the blanket for Mr. Young. The interesting move for me that's really made a difference is that Carolina moved him to the slot. And he's running 68% of his routes now out of the slot. He only ever ran 22% at most in a season out of the slot in Minnesota. So he was always outside. They moved him to the slot now, and he has just been a target and catch machine. This is as concentrated as you can get on an offense. Remember, he only went 2 for 2 in week 1. Bryce Young looked terrible. Like, if you take week 1 out, these stats go through the roof. But he has 49 receptions on 59 targets. And one of the things I like in this spot is they're coming off a bye. So they have time to prepare for Houston. They have time to get Young over and get him there. Theilen has an 83% catch rate this season, which has been amazing. And here's the big part is Houston runs a ton of zone. They run the 6th most zone in the NFL. And Theilen has a 92% catch rate versus zone. It goes up 10%. As he's gotten a little older in his career, he isn't beaten man as much, right? He's not, outrunning a 4-3 corner, but you put him into the slot and let him run, flat routes, out routes, stop and goes, just hooks. And you turn around and you give somebody that, they're going to have pressure on Bryce. That line isn't good. I think there's a ton of opportunity here. We're going over 6 receptions. His numbers are just lunacy. He's had 11 receptions in back-to-back games before the bye. The targets are there, and he's going to continue to see him in this offense.
This is one that was on my radar too, and I'm not just an Adam Thielen super fan. Like I in my closet, I had the Minnesota high school jersey from Adam Thielen. So I've been an Adam Thielen fan for a long, long time, and I'd like to take this moment to apologize to Adam Thielen and his family for overthinking. He was my biggest overthink of the NFL offseason, right? Because this is someone I targeted like. I've targeted like every year playing fantasy football, right? And last year he looked, not gonna lie, he looked like he might be washed, and it couldn't be further from the truth. He is, like you said, coming out of the slot, he's commanding those targets. He's been the ultimate safety blanket for a bad quarterback so far this season. He's the clear alpha, and I love to see him succeed. And also, like you said, they're coming off a bye. And it feels like the perfect statement game where Bryce Young could fool you into thinking he's good by maybe outright beating the Texans. And the reason I'm not going to necessarily predict it, because I'm not going to put my faith into Bryce Young throwing the football. But also just if you look at the Vegas line for this game, there are only 3-point underdogs in this one, and the books are maybe They project this game to be close, and in a close game, in a statement game where Bryce Young is facing the guy that should have been picked number 1 instead of him, perhaps he spams Adam Thielen, maybe 10 catches for Adam Thielen, get us going. You carry us on offense. So I love this way of targeting it, and that's going to be your 2-piece for half a unit.
For me, it's simple math like that, and I actually think Houston's going to put up points on this team because of how bad the Panthers, especially run defense, has been. And I think CJ's going to want to make a statement saying, hey, I should have been number 1, which is good. We want them in a game script where they're throwing the ball. So, and again, if we only get 6, it's worst case scenario, it's a push. But if you saw with Knox last night, these guys are going to get targets. It's why we like targeting receptions, because we're targeting volume. We're not trying to target, hey, if he breaks a play or such. And I'm excited. I don't know what Ahaan is going with here. So it's I'm interested to see. I know rough area he's going, but I'm interested to see where he goes here.
Yeah. So for context, our show sheet is usually filled out. We're super prepared for many situations, right? Well, we have our main plays, the ones we feel most conviction about, and both of us are prepared with what we want to go with. And if those projections disappear from the board, then we have pivots. We have a lot of lanes that we led prior. But today, I was out this afternoon, and Trevor has not said, I have nothing on the show sheet for myself, so it's a complete surprise what I'm going with. But one of the plays that I will finalize, because I see the projection has only moved a yard, and I'm fine with taking it, is I'm gonna change up the mojo. We need to start putting some lowers in these entries, and I'm taking Puka lower a week after I had his over on, I believe it was 56.5 receiving yards last week.
Yeah.
You had the higher five receptions, sweat-free, both of them, 150 plus yards last week. A week after that, we can't hold grudges, and we can't hold, emotional bias to players that have fed us in the past either, right? And I think this is an overreaction. So obviously, Cooper Kupp is back. He is the number one on this offense. I'm not going to let the last game distract me from the whole. It's been a couple of years now that we've made jokes about Matthew Stafford and the breakfast with Cooper Kupp, the podcast that he's starting with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is the number one. He's the number one. He's the priority. This is the former Super Bowl MVP. Cooper Kupp had a bad game, in his last game, and he didn't need to, show out necessarily because Puka Nacua was getting that 1v1 coverage and doing his thing. This week, it's a completely different story against the Dallas Cowboys. They're one of the best pass DVOA defenses. They're one of the best defenses by, dropback EPA per play allowed. And specifically, they are the number one pressure rate defense in the league. They pass rush the quarterback like crazy. It is going to be a forest fire for Matthew Stafford, especially because his offensive line is a little banged up this week. So Matthew Stafford's not going to have a lot of time. And if he's going to spam somebody, I can assure you it's probably Cooper Kupp. So you can see if you were looking at the lines for Puka Nacua where it opened, the receptions opened up at 6.5 at a pick'em on the sports books. You can see now on Underdog it's 6 because it's now juiced to the under at -150. So the receptions have started to get juiced down. But the reason I'd like to take the receiving yards is because this should be game script independent. Because if the Rams go down a lot, as many teams have against the Cowboys this year, they might be getting some of the easy short passes, some to Cooper Kupp, some to Puka Nacua, some to Tyler Higbee. But Dallas is not going to give up the big plays usually. They are one of the league's best defenses at restricting yak. They're one of the league's best defenses at not allowing explosive pass plays. And Puka Nacua gets the matchup of most likely primarily Deron Bland. And Bland ranks number 1 in the NFL in pass breakups, number 6 in yards per target allowed, number 11 in catch rate allowed, and number 4 in QBR allowed. Puka Nacua is good at football, but this is an overreaction to me. He averaged 125 receiving yards per game on 119 air yards per game without Kupp. And with Kupp, it's down to 83 on 92 air yards. And you'll notice that the air yards and the receiving yards are very similar. You look into why. It's because even though his ADOT is low, he actually ranks number 69, nice, in ADOT. He ranks number 2 in YAC. And that's very important to me because I don't think that's sustainable, and definitely not against the Dallas Cowboys defense that ranks number 6 in the NFL in PFF grade on tackling. They don't allow a lot of YAC, so he's probably not going to produce big plays this way. So I'm taking the Puka Nacua lower than 75.5 receiving yards to get me started.
Yeah, I was all over Puka last week. I loved his matchup. This is a spot that he's going to actually get a ton of Gilmore. They're not going to move Gilmore over on Kupp, right? So he's going to see their best cornerback, and this is a spot they'd have Diggs. If Diggs was healthy, Diggs would see Kupp. So now Diggs is going to get Jordan Lewis instead, and that's just a great matchup for Kupp. I like the play on the under there. They're going to bracket him. And again, I think they're going to hold him short. And especially the thing you brought up, that pressure rate is going to be all up in his grill.
Yeah. And I'm going to pull a fast one on you here is you don't know that I'm not pairing this with one pick. I'm pairing this with a stack like I did a few weeks ago.
Ooh, I like it.
A few weeks ago, I had the Justin Herbert, Mike Williams stack, and I sold it by pairing him with Jamar Chase when the Bengals offense was broken. Hopefully, Puka, we can get the job done here, get the lower. And I'm buying in on a situation at an even better price. And what I'm doing is I'm heading over to the Eagles pass offense against this Mickey Mouse Washington defense. I mean, if you want to talk about bad defenses, Washington, basically the opposite of the Cowboys, right? They're one of the worst defenses through the air by every metric. They allow big plays. They allow more than one huge play on passing per game. They allow one of the worst dropback EPAs per play in the NFL. They rank one of the worst in pass DVOA as a defense. They've got former first round picks, won't mention who are getting benched because they're just so bad at football. Now they face the Philadelphia Eagles offense, that wasn't clicking on all cylinders versus the Jets a couple weeks ago. They will this week, and the weather looks to be fine. They're not everywhere on this slate are you going to get great weather. This is a game where we're getting great weather most likely. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the Jalen Hurts higher than 247.5 passing yards because I think he's going to feed to basically everybody. There's nobody on the other team that can guard A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Nobody's getting guarded. Washington also allows a good amount of yak as well, so he might get these with DeAndre Swift, creating, on a check down, creating in the open field. But my favorite receiver, who I think is being completely disrespected in this game, it's the ultimate buy low, is Devontae Smith, and I'm pairing him with on the higher than 49.5 receiving yards. I see Trevor's arms in the air. I know he approves of this one because he liked the receptions as well. Devontae Smith. Yeah, go ahead.
I love it. I love Devonta in this game.
Now this line, if you look at it as a layman, you just look at the what he's done this season so far, you'll see he's only gone over this in 2 out of 6, or in 2 out of 7, right? Even worse, he only has 50 plus receiving yards in 2 out of 7 games. But in the misses, here are his air yards: 158, 35, 154, and 54. And those were in matchups, most of which were much worse than this Commanders defense. And I've already told you about how bad they are. The opportunity has been there, and now his primary cornerback matchup will be Benjamin St-Juste. And, I heard a lot of good things about St-Juste in the offseason. Well, he hasn't showed that in the last few weeks. On his own coverage, just on his coverage, not talking about the players that were guarded by him and got switched and added more not being covered by him. On his coverage alone, he's allowed at least 67 receiving yards in 4 out of the last 5 games. So he is not playing well right now at all. So Devontae Smith's going to get the soft matchup. Again, I'm going to use a phrase that Trevor used a lot, which is I like guys that can get this, on one play. And 50, definitely possible in one play for Devontae Smith. You look at what he's done in the past in this building. You look at some of those highlights, you look at some of those box scores, he can get this in one play. So that's how I'm stacking Jalen Hurts. And the beauty of playing a half a unit on this is now instead of just taking Jalen Hurts or instead of just taking Devontae Smith, and our profit will be twice as much, like a plus 200. Now we get a 5 times instead of a 2 times just by stacking, because Underdog does not price in the positive correlation between Hurts and Smith's production. That's my ticket. Puka Nacua lower than 75.5 receiving yards. Jalen Hurts higher on passing yards and Devontae Smith higher than receiving yards. It's a 3-legger for half a unit.
All right. So I'm going to give our fans that are watching right now a spicy freebie. You will see me personally have a ticket this week that has Devonta Smith over 100 yards and a touchdown on a book. You will see it. It already exists. I'm all over Devonta this week. This is a spot to buy him. You talked about Washington. Washington has given up 622 yards on passes over 20 yards. That is 30% more than the number 2 team in the NFL. So, guys, teams don't lose 30% in the NFL. The players aren't that much better, but this Washington pass defense is a hot mess. So this is a spot to attack them. They're giving up tons of deep balls. This game is going to be like 7, 125, 1 or 2 for Smith.
This time I pressed the right button and there was a delay. God damn it. We'll get these ironed out by next week. These sound effects. Love it. All over Devontae Smith this week. I'm looking for the one of those Super Bowl-esque performances. When I was on the juice last year for the Super Bowl, I gave out Devontae Smith to lead the game in receiving. I'm looking for something like that this week. AJ Brown might. The beauty of how bad Washington is, at the stat you just dropped, was AJ Brown can continue his streak of having 125 receiving yards. And that might not even lead the game. It might still be Devontae Smith.
I think that's what's going to happen. I actually think AJ gets there, but I just think DeMonta is going to have 2 or 3 massive deep balls. And he's going to, like I said, he's going to end up over that. And this is going to be one of those games that if you're playing DFS, if you don't have that stack, you're not winning. And this is where, you guys hear us talk about all these stats. That data analysis tool we dig deep with every week. Go check it out. It is, guys, I can use any data I want anywhere, pull it from anywhere. I pretty much pay and use access to different spots. We have the best data tool in the business, and it's not close. I love it. It because I can filter reports. So when you guys are seeing that stuff, that's where we're pulling it out of.
And I pulled up Twitter. I switched the tab and pulled up Twitter right as you were speaking. And the first thing I see on the timeline is Jason Allwine's quote from Trade God saying Cooper Kupp is not going anywhere. Stop pretending he is. So I feel like there's a connection here, and I feel the good vibes this week. This is going to be the start of something special. We're going to go 5-0. You're going to hit your ticket. It's going to be your 4th individual win on the season, and I'm going to hit with this 5x, and all of a sudden I'll be back in business. I'm feeling the good vibes this week, and make sure you guys tail us on Underdog using promo code Underworld upon entry. And stick around in the Discord because Trevor and I are dropping things all the time. Trevor's actually better at this than I am, of remembering to put his entries in the Discord so you guys can, bounce ideas off each other. We got a community just sharing their wins, but also, before the game starts, share the love, share your entries with us so we can go back and forth on these tickets. Someone has a question in chat. Do you guys think Dalvin Cook will get traded? Context on this is Dalvin Cook did say this week, I'm not happy with my role. I mean, I'm not sure what he expects playing behind Breece Hall, but he said that nevertheless. Also, do you think Fournette lands on a team, which we just discussed?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, does anybody want to take on his contract? Probably not. Like, it's not like a Judy or a Sutton or somebody, or even Henry that, right? If a playoff contending team that's hurting for a back, trades for him, that's that's definitely a spot. So, I mean, I don't know. And you heard us talk about Fat. If you listen to the whole show, I talked about Fat Lenny earlier. I genuinely think at this point, watching this season play out, that he has like bad locker room presence. Is the only reason I could think that a few of these teams wouldn't bring him on. Like, it's got to be that in order for them to just not say, hey, because you can't watch Latavius Murray last night and think, oh, this guy is better than Fournette was the last few seasons. So, and one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use in the Underdog 100K sweepstakes, I'm going to use the Philly stack with my 2 plays for our Michael Mayer play, and we are going higher on that. So if people want to know what I'm doing for that, we're making it a 5-legger, and I might even make this a full 5 stack with our picks. I'm that confident this week, and go rack Underdog for 20x.
Best co-host ever. Sees me get shut out on the season. He's tailing it anyway.
Yeah, we're due, man. You're due because you're the king. If you are on our DFS Dominator, he is the king of picking them right in the DFS Dominator and just picking the couple, like, one wrong for the show. He is the king of it this season.
Yeah, I can't even say just fade me because I'm missing only one of these legs, so you don't even know which one to fade. But regardless, we're getting back in the winning column this week. It's a good slate. Honestly, given the injuries, you can't be too unhappy with the slate. I mean, people will complain about slates no matter what, but given no buys, minimal injuries, we might even get David Montgomery back this week, ready to finish a certain future for us. But regardless, it should be a good weekend, and hopefully it's a 5-0 week. As usual, stay tuned on the Discord if you want more of our Underdog picks. Tail us using promo code Underworld, and we'll see you back here next week for week 9. Week 9. Oh wow,
Crazy.
The number's getting up there. Week 9 on Wednesday at 4:30 for the main show to talk Thursday Night Football. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Let's make some money.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you, allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.